I just want to say, reminding you that when faced with hard times, some people say there's a reason for everything, but we might not know the reason. Just give it some time. And, those can be comforting words, but I believe that the reasons are not as mysterious as many of us think. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I think rather than wondering why something happens, we can actually know why it happened. So let's turn over to Victoria for announcements.
Sorry, took me a second to unmute. So this morning, the first announcement always is about the fact that we are live streaming on Sunday mornings and also recording on YouTube. And we start at 9:15 in the morning with a chat time and a check-in with pray-in. At 10 o'clock is our service until about 11. And then after that, we have a discussion group for as long as we like. And it's a real connected community. So the part that's on YouTube is from 10 till 11 and does not include the discussion time at the beginning or at the end of the service, so that it's more private to the individuals who are in attendance. Our events page is on the website, and that's where you can tune in to find all of the events that are happening. Our annual meeting is going to be coming up on March 30th at 11:15 in the morning. And that would be following the service that day. So 11:15 here on the Zoom. The meeting will just continue on to Zoom that day. Also, we have our book club. We've started a new book, or we're going to start a new book this coming Wednesday. Wednesday is book club night at 6:30. And there is a link that will be sent to you if you are interested in attending. All you have to do is contact Lori and she'll send you the link. And then it will be the same link every time if I'm not mistaken. So the new book is Why Woo Woo Works. And that sounds fun and more lighthearted than our past book was. We finished Beyond Belief by Bruce Lipton, and that generated some really interesting discussions, and part of it was just for me was just overpowering, and toward the last half of the book I totally enjoyed, and really got a lot out of it that I am applying every day. So that's it for our announcements for today, unless Lori or somebody else has something to add.
Nope,
And
I think
thank
you
you
got it
and
right.
have a great week.
Trying to unmute myself. Did it work?
It worked. You're good.
Okay. Let's move into our prayer for protection. And we can say this together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God unfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Does everything really happen for a reason? Several weeks ago, I was driving through the Catskill Mountains in New York, where I've just moved, and I was listening to Stephen Mitchell's Simple Gifts CD. I loved his stuff. But I locked onto a song called Lessons to Be Learned since I was wrestling with the whys of another heartbreak. The chorus really caught my attention, so I put it up on the board here. I'm not going to sing it, although I might. Why did the right road take that wrong turn? Why did our heart break? Why do we get burned? Just like the seasons, there are reasons for the paths we take. There are no mistakes, only lessons to be learned. So I always love that. But of course, after I listen to the song, I find what the nuggets I want, and then I do what any person does. I analyze it to death. I start asking all the questions, trying to figure out, does that really how it works? And that's that theologian in me. Went on and, my master's is in theology, but that was the whole part that was so attractive about theology, is that constantly asking the question, why, really, how, is that how that works? Sometimes I think it's exhausting to live with my brain, but I do okay with it. And I'm going to talk about two things today. I'm talking about reason, and I'm going to talk about purpose. What is the reason for things? If we look at the metaphysical or spiritual, and that's often what our spiritual communities look at, and the idea of a metaphysical reason for why things happen seems to comfort people because it helps grasp the unknown, things we cannot handle or we cannot grasp at the moment. And I know that there's comfort in knowing that God or spirit is out there or in here, right? And the business of that spirit being with us is to help us learn and grow and change, and we like all that. But I still struggle with this concept, because if God and spirit is the source of circumstances and the events that are set in motion to help us learn and grow, we are actually engaged in a passive learning environment. I am waiting for God to do to me, or I wait and things happen, and then I'm like waiting to know what God is going to reveal. All that is extremely passive. But I believe, if I believe someone greater than me is working to develop my character and my abilities, I don't have to take responsibility for the process or the outcome. I mean, God will take care of this. It will all come to pass. Things will be fine. All is well. And I love those phrases, but when we use those to take our brains out of the equation and take out our decision making and our options and our choices, to leave it to something bigger than ourselves, we really are just kind of letting things happen to us. And I can walk away from any situation and say, oh, God is teaching me something, and one of these days I'm going to understand. But if I do, I won't have to take any further action. And by doing so, we know that we often fall into the same patterns. We'll do the same thing over and over again. So I'm advocating that we take a look at concrete reasons or physical reasons for why things happen. And I'm not saying to dismiss the metaphysical. I want us just to look at the concrete and grab hold of that a little bit more to see how that would best serve us. So I go back to, I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Yeah, look at me for a while. My cool orchid. So when I go back to that line about why did our heart break? Why did we get burned? Yeah, I won't charge you extra for that. And I reflect on my part in that. I can say I know exactly what happened in that relationship. I don't have to have some metaphysical thing out there to tell me that, you know what? My partner and I, we had different expectations and we couldn't talk about them. We had different values and we couldn't reconcile them. Those are some big issues. Now, there are some people that can come together and reconcile those and deal with those, but we could not do that. We had a lot in common and we had a lot of fun, but our world views, the way we see things, were so different that we lived kind of in different worlds. And our relationship came to a place where, like, hey, we're just not good for each other in this situation anymore. And the thing is, once I grab that, and the list goes on, actually, there's so much more, right? That I grab those things, I can do something with it. And I'm still processing. I'm still reading books that pertain to what I've learned about myself. And I'm talking to some super wise girlfriends that are helping me see things about myself or what I'm doing that I haven't done before. And you can see that this is a much more active way to understanding the why than it just kind of waiting to see what the purpose is. So, why did that happen? Well, the person on the other end of the phone was being a jerk. Well, I don't want to put anyone in boxes, but I mean, you can start to see that it's something I did, or it could be something that someone else has done. So it isn't always about your own decision. I want to make that clear, because sometimes like, well, I chose this or I did that. Well, there's times when there's people that do things to us, right? Somebody does something to us and we say, well, why was I hurt? Well, that person was cruel to you. They were mean to you. They neglected you. So those are the reasons. I still remember this one talk I heard, and it's a wonderful spiritual center. And they were talking about domestic violence, and they're saying, like, I just don't know why it's there, like some, metaphysical reason, like God has that there for a reason, that God's allowed that. And I'm thinking it's there because we let people abuse other people, because we say it's okay for men to be in control, and there's a belief system out there. That's why that exists. And so by knowing that, we can actually do something about it. We don't just have to sit there and wait. Well, maybe somebody will do something. And I don't want to talk politics, but I just don't want to say in a political world that when we say, oh, this isn't what I like, or this is what I like, when we sit there and say, oh, I think God is doing something, again, we're taking on this passive role rather than saying, hey, what can I actively do? I actually can identify some things. What can I do to make this different? And I want to share one more story. Well, it's not my story. It's my story. Hi. This is Alfredo. I can introduce myself. I'm Alfredo, like the sauce. Hi. I see a few of you trying to wave back. Thank you very much. I have a story that fits perfectly with this. Well, I'd say go ahead and tell it to us. Okay, well, I entered a pasta contest. I worked hard on my signature pasta, and I worked hard to develop a special Alfredo sauce, like my name. Get it? Okay. Well, I entered the contest, and I was one of 100 people, and 12 go to the finals, and I didn't make it. Alfredo, it's okay. It was okay. But I was so discouraged. I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. I spent so much time creating my pasta and sauce. It kind of seemed unbelievable. Well, I'm sorry, Alfredo. Yeah, but don't be. Because I got over the shock of not winning, and I decided to take some more cooking classes. And I went to Italy and studied with some pasta making greats like Luigi and Mario. Well, I tried some new sauce recipes and got friends to sample them and critique them until they stopped coming over for dinner. Yeah, I'm sorry I was one of those people that stopped coming over for dinner. Yeah, you should be. Well, I entered the contest, but it was a pasta contest again the next year, and I knew I had better pasta and a yummier sauce, so guess what? You won? No! Nope. I didn't even make it into the top 12. So this time, I wondered if something was wrong with the panel, or if they were biased. You mean like they had something against you? Like they have something against people with mustaches? That's exactly what some of my friends thought. Because, there were several excellent pasta makers who didn't even get into the finals, including a woman, and they all had mustaches. Well, that seems weird. So what did you do? Well, I went and talked to the judges. Ooh, you did? I did. I went and asked if they were looking for anything specific, or if there was anything about me that was unnerving, as I twisted my mustache in front of them. And they said, no, it's just that we're looking for pasta and sauces that have that little extra something to get into the top 12. Well, that sounds like a good thing that you went in to see them. Yeah, It was hard though. It sounds like it was very hard, but it sounds like maybe it was productive. Oh, yeah. So I went and lived in India and in Polynesian areas to learn about new spices. And I entered the contest a third time, and I got third place. I got third place. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I know. And I first thought it was just because there was something out there that, I just had bad luck. And then I realized I could do a lot to fix it. Oh my gosh, that's great. Well, congratulations. I know. And I have my own show on Netflix. It starts in a month. I get 6 shows to teach about my perfect pasta every time. I'm so stoked. Well, I gotta go, because I gotta go get prepped. Well, thank you for that story. I know. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye. Thank you, Alfredo. Oh, you never know. It's exciting at my house with him and a couple others. Netflix. So keep your eye out on Netflix and see when his show comes out. You know what I'm saying? So we talked about, I'm going to share my screen again. So hang on. We're hanging on. Make sure I do this right. Looks like we did. So we talked about reasons as metaphysical or spiritual versus concrete and physical. So now I want to move to the idea of purpose. Because meaning and purpose are really 2 different things. Now, purpose of life. I mean, we can say, okay, what's the reason for this or the meaning for this? There's that. But then I think that there's a greater, like there can be a greater purpose for something. And, throughout my life, I found myself, what's my purpose? What's my meaning? What's the reason I'm here, right? And, there people come up with maybe make a lot of money, be successful, have an important impact on others. I want to raise a family. I want to make people laugh. That's one of my minor things that I do. And I walk around. I will talk to people I don't know. And I'm excited that my son isn't embarrassed by that. But the reason I do that is I'm trying to get a laugh, because I think that just improves their quality of life just a little bit. So that's one of the things I count as a purpose. Some people want to be in charge, rule the world. I didn't say that. Some people want to bring people to God. Like that's their purpose. But some of these purposes I can get behind, and some of them not so much. And that's okay, right? We can all have different purposes. But I do think that there is one universal purpose that everyone can focus on that benefits everyone. And it isn't anything new. I want to suggest that the greatest purpose in life is to love. First Corinthians 13, 1-3. If I speak in the tongues of people or of angels, but do not have love, I am a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship, that I may boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. So, as the purpose, if love is the main purpose, then the focus isn't necessarily on what's happening to us. The focus is on how we respond to what happens to us. Let me say that again. The focus isn't on what is happening to us, but the focus becomes on how we respond to what is happening to us. And the great thing about, if I take it through this lens of when something happens to me, how am I going to respond? How am I going to interact with others? Putting that through the lens of love, the benefits are I learn. People say, well, you're going to learn from whatever happens. Well, when you figure out that whatever's happening to you, how am I going to respond in a way that's loving? You're going to learn, right? And you're going to grow. And I honestly believe you're going to become more whole. and I'm saying things because this is what's worked for me. I become a brighter person. I become a vessel that brings healing to others. Simply sharing your story is a loving thing because people see what you've gone through and they go, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. And you can bring healing to others by sharing your story. Another benefit is not for that was for yourself, but benefit for others is they get to experience your patience and your kindness and your faith in them and your forgiveness. Oh my gosh. Think of your friends that have forgiven you for things, your family members or your coworkers, things that you've done, and you're like, oh my gosh. And if you that one simple thing of like, you know what, I can forgive you, or they will forgive you, and you go, we can move forward. Forgiveness is a part of love. You cannot separate those two. So you can see that love is quite a big thing. It's not some simple like, oh, I'm feeling really good about this. Because love is not, I mean, it is a feeling, but it's so much more. It's an action. So I benefit, others benefit, and we benefit because we all can jump on this same really large boat. We can all get on the same parade, and we can all say, hey, this is what we're working towards, a loving environment, a loving workplace, a loving family, a loving country, a loving with our neighbors. How do we do that? What does that look like? Because I said before, love is more than a feeling. It is an action, and it is a decision that we are making. And we know this. It's not, again, something new, but it's a good reminder that I'm deciding that, you know what, I am so angry, but I am going to lay this one down and lay down and be quiet for a while till I figure out how I can handle this in a loving manner. And I may have to wait a couple of weeks before I come back and respond to something because I want to do it in a loving manner. Living out of love, the purpose of living and showing love, it is a way of life. And I will tell you, it is not easy because sometimes we want to hurl the first stone or we want to lash back when people have hurt us. That's why that deep breath, breathe in, can be so helpful. Taking time, planning ahead. So it's very you're being very conscious about what you're doing when you're coming to love. And it's really easy to love the people that make us feel good. But what about the people that do not, or the situations that do not? We can still be loving. And it doesn't mean walk in and we slap them on the back and go, hey, how's it going? It may be going in and saying, you know, what you're doing here isn't the right thing to be doing for people. It may be confronting people. But can you confront people in such a way that they hear you? Because if you come in there with your baseball bat, going, this is not the way to do this, I can guarantee you they are not hearing you. They are feeling attacked. And they're going to turn around and attack back or run, right? So we're not really getting anywhere. We do not have to have warm feelings for everyone to love them. We can choose to act in love even when we are angry at people or feel hurt by someone. So I want to just close with this couple little situational things. You lost your job because the new boss didn't seem to like you. That's the situation. Your purpose. Well, if we go back to the reason, we can say, well, maybe because your boss is unruly. Your boss doesn't know how to work with people like you. Maybe you are lazy or you don't like the new job description. Those could all be the reasons. But then we get to the purpose. The purpose why I'm here is to extend love. So then I start asking the questions, how do I exit the job in love? How do I tie up the ends in love? What do I need to say to my boss or to the company in a loving way so that maybe changes can be made or I can still walk out with my head up? So that's just a quick situation. Another one is the restaurant screwed up your order And if you send the food back, the group that you're eating with is going to have to sit around and wait for you. Now, I'm one that when they screw up on my order, I'm like, oh, this is the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. I don't care. I wish I'd ordered this in the first place, right? I have a hard time sending anything back because I don't want to offend the people because I don't know. I just don't. That's just not my thing. Matter of fact, one time I got this dish that I didn't want, and I just cried. And my husband at the time's like, we can send that back. Well, I don't want to send it back. Let's send it back. Okay, let's send it back. It was so silly, right? But let's say there are other people that just get irate. Oh my gosh, that toast corner was burnt. Well, so the restaurant screwed up your food. Do you send it back? Okay, well, the reason, maybe they had too much food they were cooking, right? Maybe the waitress or waiter was new. Maybe you're really kind of a picky person when it comes to wages. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why that we can grab onto. It doesn't have to be metaphysical. But the purpose is, how do you extend love in this situation? How do you treat the wait staff that you're frustrated with love? There's a way to do that and get what you want, and they walk away feeling like they were cared for. How do you speak up for yourself? That's a loving thing to do, instead of whining in the corner, right? How do you speak up for yourself? What do you say to your friends that are having to wait there so that you can bring love into the equation? And what do you say about the restaurant after you leave so that you are spreading love to your community? So that love is not glossing over things. Love is not ignoring things, but is figuring out, how do you want to handle that? And although I'm advocating for love as an ultimate purpose of the meaning for managing life, I will say, again, it is not an easy path. And because there is so much to it, I decided I'm going to come back on March 30th and we're going to delve, is that the word? If it's not, we're going to go with it, into the topic of love and what to do. What does actually what does love actually look like in different kinds of ways? How can we be loving? What does that action look like? So in closing meditation, mess with the screen a little bit. I have to stop sharing just for a second, because I want to put some background music on while we move into a time of meditation. Let me be the love I want to receive, or let it flow through me abundantly. Let me be the love. Let's just turn our thoughts to our breath. Let it flow as I breathe. Breathe in and breathe out. Let me be the peace I want to receive. Pay attention to your breath, as it is the thing that gives us life. We take it in and it gives us life. We breathe out, we're giving someone else life. Trees, things like that. There's a circle to that life. I'm going to read a text. And I want you just to meditate on the words. I'm not going to say much, but read the text. And it comes from 1 Corinthians 13. Love is patient. Love is kind. It is not envious. It does not boast. Love is not proud. Love does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always perseveres. Love never fails. And now these three things remain. As Paul was writing to the Corinthians, he said, faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. When you're ready, go ahead and bring your attention back. And let's close with a benediction, which I'm going to do in chat. So pull up your chat, put everyone, and I want you to, in your benediction, I want you to write. Don't hit enter or anything. I want you just to type something, and then when I say enter, we'll enter it all the time, and they call it like a waterfall, and you'll see all these little comments, and then we'll go through and look at those. But in terms of a benediction, it's like a blessing that you would want to send people home with. What's the blessing that you want to send people home with? So write that in, and wait till I say enter. If you mistakenly enter ahead, that's okay.
Oh, number 4.
I see people typing, yay. Okay, let's count down 3, 2, 1, and then hit enter. So 3, 2, 1, enter. Love is our spiritual family and community. Infinity, love, and gratitude, blessings of that. Breathe through your perception of fear, be embraced by the love of all. Laugh, live, love. May peace wrap its arms warmly around you. Love is all there is. A wonderful day to all. Have faith, rise out of the mud like a lotus, and be resilient. God is love. Love is the warm fuzzy that gives me hope, and love is connection and support. May you fly high and see far and not fret over the cries of those who cling to the ground. Peace, love, and happiness. The spirit of love lives in you, all of us, always. Amen. Did I just do the most fastest service ever? Next time I'm gonna get Alfredo or somebody else to do a little jigaboo dance of some sort.